the audition set up, she's like, oh, I know of a singer, so she emailed me and asked if I'd be willing to audition. And, you know, it's amazing that you just never know like who's out there and has your CDs or your business card or whatever is going to happen. It was just such a crazy small world thing. I wouldn't have known the show was going on if she hadn't emailed me about it. And as it turns out, I was taking time off in Austin, Texas that month, and I figured I didn't have a very good excuse not to go to the audition. But I went to the audition knowing that I had this tour with Janae planned. And so I walked in with this like kind of relaxed confidence that it's hard to have at an audition when you know you're being judged by people. And this is just the regional auditions, so none of the like fancy people were there. And believe me, it was not blind. Everybody was looking at you full on. But I walked in there and I was just thinking, well, I'm just here for the experience, just to say that I went to this crazy audition. But even if they want me, I mean, I can't participate in their little television show anyhow, because I'm going on tour with Janae Halstead. So, but I figured I would just go to the audition just to give it a try and meet some interesting new people. So I did the audition, and you know, they called me back, and I went back, and then I thought, well, that's funny, they called me back. I figured, you know, they don't want folk singers on national TV. That's cute. So I went to the callback, and then they said, oh, we might call you to come to LA in a month, but if you don't hear from us by, you know, whatever date, then we're not interested. I was like, all right, cool, have a nice life, see you later. I'm going to Folk Alliance. Woo! So I continued on my, like, you know, folk music life, and then in late February, I got a call, and they said, you know, we'd like for you to come to the last stage of non-televised auditions for the show. I was like, great, when? And they said, in 6 days. I said, oh, well, okay, that's kind of soon. How long am I coming for? And they said, well, the non-TV auditions are over next weekend. Those are 3 days. And if you make it past that round, then you'll be on the blind auditions on TV. And if you make it past that round, then you'll start filming the rest of the show. So, you know, you'll definitely be out here for 3 days, possibly up to 6 weeks. And I said, well, and they said, pack accordingly. I said, well, okay. So I packed some stuff, and I went out there, but I honestly just figured I'd get to the network auditions, and they would say, you know, who brought this folk singer out here? Somebody get a plane ticket back to Atlanta. Poof, send her home. So again, I like wasn't concerned about missing the tour, but I figured I would just kind of keep pulling the thread and see how long it would go. And then they really like. It took them a while to make their final casting decision, so I was out there for like a week, just stuck in this hotel, not even knowing if I was going to get to be in the blind auditions. It was like psychological torture out there, but it was fun. It was a positive experience. So I was just in the hotel waiting to find out, and still not too concerned, because I really just didn't think that there was a chance in hell that they were going to let a folk singer sing in a televised singing competition. But then, like 2 days before the auditions, they announced the final cast. I was in it, so I was like, oh. All right, so now we're down to the 64 people who audition in front of the famous people, and at that point I was like, well, there's no way in hell that, you know, these 4 famous people are going to want to have a singing folk singer on their team. So I'm still cool for the tour in Europe, because the Europe tour started 4 days after the blind auditions were filmed. So at that point I figured I was still good, and so I went up on stage for the blind auditions, and I was talking about it earlier with Carla, saying that it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, and I had jumped out of an airplane. And now it's just like a walk in the park compared to the blind auditions. It's like you walk up on stage for the blind auditions, there's like no introduction, there's no clapping, no one is smiling. You know, you can like, I could hear my footsteps like echoing around this arena, and I was performing to a room full of people, you know, this audience of strangers, and these 4, you know, turned around celebrities, and then, you know, all of these camera people and producers and stuff, and everyone in the room would have been equally happy if I had given the best performance of a lifetime or vomited on myself. Either one would have made for great television. And that was a very strange kind of crowd to perform for. But I was doing the blind audition, just thinking like, all right, I'm gonna go sing my 90-second song and no one's gonna turn around, and then sweet, I go to Europe with Janae, yes. And so then I was singing the song, I was about halfway through, and I see the corner of one chair start to turn around, and as soon as I saw it starting to spin, I thought, oh God, Janae, I'm so sorry. Cancel a lot of shows, and then the chair continued to turn around, and it was Christina freaking Aguilera, and I was like, oh my God, I'm singing directly in front of Christina Aguilera. Again, a sentence as a folk singer I never considered that I would utter. I think just got stranger from there. So anyhow, that was the long version of my experiences with the voice. I probably sighed